welcome to our podcast. Today we are going to host Neel. And Neel is a very good friend. He has an amazing personality. You guys are going to learn so much about him. So, Neel, how are you today?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Amazing, amazing. So, Neil, like we know a lot about you, what you do, building new products and those things. Obviously, you have built multiple things around the corner. So, can you give a small intro and brief about yourself? We know, but I would like to know people and what is your background so people know about you.
Yeah,
Let's start.
absolutely. Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me, guys. And this is a great opportunity to talk to people, young entrepreneurs, fresh graduate people, and a lot of young people who are about to start their journey as a business or uh, in the career as well. I come from a very small town, tier two town called Surat, which is famous for diamond and textiles. I'm into tech for more than a decade now, and I have started my journey as a in the startup world, and couple of startups later, I started my own startup, and which is called Sync Signature. So yeah, that's what I'm building right now, and definitely we'll talk more on the journey part of the things on the podcast. So yeah, that's me.
Amazing, amazing. I would like to ask you which is our favorite product you would like to know about? Like, which is your favorite product?
So basically, when we talked about skill.ai, I browsed through the products, and one of the product that caught my attention was Docubaat. And why? Because one of the most interesting thing that I came across was people like my employees, when they join, they get a contract document, and they have a lot of questions around that, and they keep coming back to me one day, the other day, and asking me questions about what this term called, or how this particular clause will be worked out, or things like that. And we what I found was this tool called Docubaat. I just kind of uploaded the document, and the employees were basically equipped to question that document themselves, and that was pretty interesting. Like, we are living in very interesting times, and the AI is taking a lot of hassle away from us in that sense. So this is one of the tool that I kind of implemented with ourselves, and जो भी हमारे employees है, they don't have to now come to me for smaller things. They can just simply ask questions to the document that they have been provided with, and they just get answers. So super impressive work on that. And of course, there are a lot more use cases around that product. But yeah, this is the favorite part that I just implemented and got a lot of benefits out of it. So yeah, that's great one.
Thank you, Neil. I think we are on a similar note where we are like making smart products for smart people to get a smart life. I think that that is something which can, matlab what we can say, summarize it.
Yeah.
So, but like other than this, like I think we all should jump to the major podcasting thing. What we love to do, both of us love to do podcasts, hear podcasts, and those things. I think all around the corner, na podcast is becoming a mainstream, right?
Right.
So let's go deep down into the things like how you have started. Let's start from the beginning. So can you tell me how you have came to this startup world earlier? जब हम लोग यंग थे हम लोगों को स्टार्टअप का इतना पता नहीं था. हमारे यहाँ बिजनेस यानी एक दुकान खोलना था या फिर पीसीओ स्टडी की शॉप खोल ली, राइट? मतलब हम लोग उस टाइम से आते हैं. सो आपकी जर्नी कैसी थी? हाउ यू हैव स्टार्टेड? व्हाट इज योर अर्ली एक्सपीरियंस? और स्टार्टअप का आपको कैसे पता चला कि यार स्टार्टअप जैसी कोई चीज होती है एंड आई शुड डू इट?
Okay, so in my introduction, where I mentioned that I come from Surat, which is a small city in that sense, so tier two city में रहने के बाद भी the context here is important, because what we do right now, even you, both of us, what we do right now is pretty different than अगर ये टेक्नोलॉजी का इतना expansion नहीं हुआ होता तो शायद we wouldn't have met even, right? So technology has made all of these things possible. And yeah, I mean, if we go back to the time where I graduated back in 2012, which is probably like 12, 13 years uh, in the past. And when I graduated, we did not have enough internet in that sense. Of course, ऐसा नहीं कि internet ही नहीं था. But back then, even 2 Mbps speed was considered for corporates and not,
Hmm.
residentials. That's the time I'm talking about. And
Right.
back when I was graduating, pretty interesting things were coming up in terms of startups, entrepreneurship. uh, I remember back in the days जब online Coursera या फिर EDX and all of those online learning platforms were coming up. Those were the platforms that were coming up during that era, right? And वहाँ पे so basically what gives me more power even today is that I am the mindset I have is very positive, and mindset I have is of learning good things from the internet. So back then also I was the same kind of person. I did not go on the internet and try to browse Bollywood related stuff or any kind of things that, of course, entertainment is required, but I'm not saying like it is not required. But when we talk about productivity, you should be focusing on things that matter, right? And even back then I was very focused on learning a lot from outside. So when I went on the internet and found that EDX karke hai, Coursera karke hai, these are the platforms that are coming up with great courses, and these are the courses from Harvard University,
Hmm.
Stanford University. These are big top universities where अपने को तो मतलब we cannot even imagine getting admission at that point in time,
Right.
right? So those were the universities that came with entrepreneurship 101, startups 101, those kind of courses, and that fascinated me a lot. And I really enjoyed through and through, like the course outline when I first went through, and those are free courses as well. It's not paid courses. Those are free courses back then as well. So when I went through them, I felt the urge to start something on my own. But back then I was actually working in a corporate where एक semi government project था जहाँ पे I was working on a central government company. So that was the setup. I was working there, and then on the side I was learning all of these things. This was happening while I was out. Like I briefly was in Ahmedabad, which is another city from which is 400 300 kilometers away from Surat, and then I came back to Surat to explore more on the entrepreneurship side of things. Uh, वहाँ से आ गया, then I had no chance of scaling in the same industry. Like it was the technical process related certain things that I did not really enjoy doing. So यहाँ पे आके zero से वापस start करना था. So I was looking at programming, trying to teach myself how to code, all of that. उसके अंदर से एक चीज़ पता चली कि programming is something that I don't really want to do or pursue. So I looked at what are other aspects of it, and then I kind of discovered couple of communities in the city which were around businesses, entrepreneurship related. Of course, Flipkart was coming out, Amazon was expanding in India. All of that was happening at the same time. In tier 2 cities, we were like very small bunch of folks going out and meeting other people who are business minded and stuff like that. So I did not had any sort of business background, right? I still tried to join a couple of communities and went to the meetings and meetups happening, and then there I found someone who started his own startup, and we got to talking, and they said like he was kind enough to let me explore, let me in for the product that they were building on. So basically I was anyway going to look for something like this, an explorative journey. So I thought कि चलो इनके साथ ज्वाइन करते हैं तो क्या होता है, देखते हैं स्टार्टअप वर्ल्ड में क्या हो रहा है, उसका लाइव एकदम लाइव अपने को पता चलेगा. So that was the intention. I joined as an intern after 2 years of proper job, which is again like somebody wouldn't do it, but I was very curious. I wanted to learn more, so I joined as an intern. And within 3 days, that uh, my boss gave me a promotion. Like he said, like you don't have to continue for 3 months your internship since you are anyway out for performing all the people out there. So within 3 days, I got to convert to full-time employee, and he offered me a position as a marketing and outreach person. Of course, it was a startup, so we had to do a lot of things. इवन मॉर्निंग में जाके वो कॉफ़ी बनाने से लेके स्ट्रेटेजिक डिसीजन तक का सब कुछ, एवरीथिंग वाज गोइंग ऑन, एंड आई वाज अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट, सो लव्ड दैट आइडिया. And interestingly, within 1.5 years of time, we become co-founder as well. So that was my initial days where, that startup did not take off really well. So we kind of then had to find our ways to into our professional journeys. But that was the start for me in a way. So yeah, I mean, being an intern to a co-founder within for 1.5 years was interesting, and that gave me that mindset that kuch karna hai to it is possible. Like the kind of mindset I have, the kind of grit I have, the kind of work I have to put in, or I want to put into my career, is something that can reward me well. So that was the journey. Yeah.
ओके सो नील लाइक आई कैन सी द शाइन इन योर आईज जब आप इस चीज को मेंशन कर रहे हो. सो आई हैव वन क्वेश्चन, और ये क्वेश्चन बड़ा रुकी टाइप का है, बट मुझे ना अपनी स्टार्टअप जर्नी याद आ गई. मेरा पहला स्टार्टअप नहीं था. आई वाज वर्किंग फॉर जस्ट 7,000 रुपीज इन अ स्टार्टअप. एकदम आपके जैसी ही जर्नी थी. एंड दैट सेम पर्सन हैव सीन द पोटेंशियल एंड ही हैज गिवन मी अपॉर्चुनिटी. आपको भी वो एक अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली, आपके अंदर जील थी सीखने की. तो मेरा पहला क्वेश्चन तो ये है कि आपकी एजुकेशन वाइज आपने क्या परस्यू किया है. व्हाट इज योर डिग्री एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स. क्योंकि मुझे लगता है आप कन्वेंशनल से ज्यादा डेली बेस्ड लर्निंग, कोर्स बेस्ड लर्निंग पे भी फोकस करते हो, राइट? सो आपकी वो क्या डिग्री है?
Absolutely. So I think India में, at least back then, that was the story. Like engineering आप पहले करते हो and then you figure out what to do in your life. So basically similar journey. I am an engineer by education, but I have always been a self learner myself, because I have always believed in learning on yourself, and I have always schooled myself in a way that मुझे किसी की ज़रूरत नहीं है. लाइक इफ़ यू जस्ट गिव मी couple of recipes or resources, I'll just learn myself. So that's a good power, or good habit, I call as well. So yeah, I mean, I have that habit of educating myself all the time, even right now.
No, even like you mentioned कि learning is a habit. Learning is not a one time task कि अभी ले लिया खा लिया हो गया. It's a habit which you develop over the time, and we can see from your journey that you have developed it over the time. That curiosity, I think curious mind is the key thing. So ये जो curiosity थी, मेरी भी curiosity है. आपकी first salary कितनी थी?
My first salary was 12,000 per month, and that also because it was a proper reputed organization. Otherwise, I think most of my classmates were getting around 7-8 thousand of salary per month. For yeah, I mean that's the case.
That was the, उसमें भी आप लोग टॉप कर रहे थे, हाँ?
Yeah, I mean, wasn't the best we can say, but yeah, I mean, back then it was good enough in that sense.
So, when you have started working and you were following Ajax and Coursera, you were learning from YouTube and those things. और उस टाइम तो इंटरनेट भी, हम लोग शायद ब्लॉग्स पढ़ पढ़ के भी करते होंगे आप, that was
Lot of
the. So, who was the key influencer उस टाइम पे आपका? आप किन चीज़ों से ज़्यादा इन्फ्लुएंस होते थे या किन चीज़ों से आप लर्न करते थे? Is there anyone जिसको आप फॉलो करते थे या जिनसे आप सीखते थे?
आई थिंक ज़्यादातर चीज़ें मैं उस टाइम पे जो सीखता था वो कोर्सेज के थ्रू था, तो वहाँ पे ज़्यादातर मतलब देयर वर डिफरेंट प्रोफेसर्स इन दैट सेंस. वन ऑफ द प्रोफेसर वाज, आई एम नॉट श्योर, आई डिड नॉट परस्यू प्रोग्रामिंग आफ्टर दैट. सो उसके बाद इतना ज़्यादा मेरा टच बेस नहीं रहा, बट देयर वाज वन प्रोफेसर फ्रॉम हार्वर्ड, आई गेस, who teaches computer science 101. I loved his teaching style, and I really admired him at that point in time. Other than that, I still am, and he is one of my, kind of uh, mentor बोल सकते हैं, virtual mentor भी बोल सकते हैं उस way में, कि I learn from his content a lot, who is Noah Kagan. And right now I have a book of him as well, which is $1 Million Weekend, and I definitely recommend everyone to read that out, because we are going to talk about starting a business, and this is the book that makes the most sense right now. Even back then, I loved his style. I
Hmm.
loved the way he has gone through his journey. He is he is the founder of AppSumo.com, which is doing 80 million plus in revenue every year. And yeah, I mean, he has a pretty incredible story. He has his own YouTube channel as well, which has more than 1 million subscribers. And yeah, I mean, he's pretty great in that sense. And that guy talks sense, like, pretty actionable advice for everyone at every stage of life. He has it, like, so I absolutely love him for that. Other than that, there was Vishen Lakhiani, who is the founder and owner of Mind Valley, one of those influencers who has taught me a lot to how to like reflect, and how to go into our spiritual journey, where you because I believe that business is something that you do from within, and the more clarity you have on your of your own self is going to only help you run your business. And other way around as well, when you start your business, you'll learn a lot about yourself. That's what I believe. So Vishal Lakhiani is like, shout out to these two OGs who has and these are the big names right now as well. Of course, they were pretty big back then, and they are pretty big right now as well.
Right. No, no, I know them. Like, matlab, even like Mind Valley is like what they are offering in today's world is like tremendous. Not just from reflection, but from every point. Like even like when you are at depression, success, and calmness, like everything they offer. So like, shout out to him. Other than this, like when you talked about spirituality and you have just told me like business comes within, right?
Yeah.
So, business needs learning as well, what I personally think. So, you were part of a tech agency. You are part of an agency as well, right? Which has grew significantly. So, like, what was that experience? Because like a lot of youngsters thought about कि no, we will directly do the startup and people see this young billionaires and those kind and they think कि नहीं मैं तो आज ही शुरू करूंगा. That happens a lot, right? Even like at that time we also think कि नहीं हमें तो करना है, right? Currently like we are in a calmer stage, but what was your experience there, like at the agency? Have you learned, like would you like to recommend it to people, please first learn in a company agency, learn the culture? Like what do you think, how was your experience there?
Right. I'll try to share my story. Of course, very subjective in that sense, like whether to start your own or learn from someone. Because I feel like if you are learning from someone like us, like the operators in a way, who has got a great, uh, great to do something, and कुछ अच्छा करना है, उस सेटअप में अगर आप काम करोगे, just like I have been doing, so of course that will help you. Otherwise, your business or the startup will teach you a lot, for sure. So both journeys are, in that sense, I say it's subjective, but you can choose any of the path. वो बोलते हैं ना कि like decisions तो एक बार लेना है, and then you have to make it right. So that way I think on this front as well. So I'll just try to continue on that story because it's very linked. I mentioned about the boss, my previous from which I got to start a startup for after 1.5 years of journey. We shut that down, and back then, usse pehle bhi, like when we used to meet in the meetups. Uh, my agency boss was also coming to that meetup, and we were connected that way. So that's where I got to network with a lot of people, and that one of those person became my boss and then co-founder as well. And in the next time as well, my tech agency boss, who is Nachiket Patel, he runs a successful software based company in Surat, which is called Logicwind, and I was part of it. And I met him at those meetups only, and that's how we got connected. And he was always like, so I met him earlier before joining a startup, but then back then I did not have any technical skills. So he was like, आप थोड़ा सा देख लो HTML CSS, these are the basic skills that you should have. थोड़ा सा करके we can connect back and see what we can do together. ऐसा करके we had one initial meeting, and then after that I joined somebody on the marketing front, right? So उस वे में I could not connect with him, or I could not collaborate with him in a way. So he, whenever he used to meet me after that, he always mentioned that, यार मेरे को पता होता कि तुम ये सब कुछ चीज़ों में भी एक्सप्लोर करना जानते हो, तुम्हें इतना सब कुछ करना पसंद है, ये हो तो हम लोग साथ में ही कुछ करते ना. He always mentioned that whenever we met in over those meetups and all of that. So as soon as we shut down our startup and we kind of looking for next big thing to do, I kind of reached out to him like, this is something that has happened and now I'm looking to do something. And he was like, I have just started my tech. So he has this service business going anyway. So very small team of 7-8 people. He thought that मेरे को इतना आइडिया नहीं है कि कितना you will be useful in that setup, because everybody else is developers basically. But
Hmm.
he has his own company in US from where he gets the business, and यहाँ पे सब development का काम होता है. तो he was like, we'll try to do something together, but देखना पड़ेगा, if that works out. Otherwise we don't know. So that way, like, he gave me opportunity कि चलो एक बार explore करके देखते हैं कि क्या हो सकता है. So I joined him as a project coordinator back in 2017 in Jan. And being sixth or seventh person in that company, I kind of saw that everybody else is developer. They basically do their job and they leave. I'm not a developer, but I take care of coordination, people, helping the founder with his work, all of that. I found my sweet spot there, and I kind of helped him so much that, we grow from that 7% to 20%, 25%. And then it started to get serious, right? So अभी 25 लोग हो गए हैं, and we have to scale now. Now we are thinking that कि projects भी अच्छे अच्छे आ रहे हैं, we have a good capability, we have a reputable model as well. तो क्यों ना अभी scale किया जाए. तो I was one of those person who was pushing from the background in a way, that आप टेक्नोलॉजी का देखो, बाकी सब मैं देख लूंगा. So
Hmm.
coordination was one thing, but other than that, I also looked into HR, admin, finance, this that. I was doing salaries. I was helping him talk with the accountants and all. जहाँ जहाँ पे भी I could free him off, I did that. And that's how it has been, like, for 3 4 initial 2 3 years it was like that. I was just giving him space to do bigger things so that I could learn more things, and he can move up the ladder. And same way, it went for a while, and then we reached to 35 40 people company, and then we committed that इस कंपनी को अगर अच्छे से ग्रो करवाना है तो we'll have to commit to certain, so certain people committed back then for 2 3 years कि अभी next 3 years तक we'll be only focusing on growing this company, and I was one of those fortunate people. So yeah, I mean, that was a journey. We just started doing that, focusing full time on that, and we grew from that to when I left last year. It was around 140 people, and right now they are around 170 people company, and we have a
Hmm.
two-story building right here in the main area of Surat, and this is considered one of the best companies in Surat to work on the technology front. And we do custom web and mobile application development, etc., for global clients. Even back then we were doing the same thing, but right now it's on scale. So that's what we do. And last year when I left for starting a product company. And one of my co-founder is the technical, the agency founder as well. The Nachiket is co-founder in Sync Signature as well. So that
Hmm.
has been the journey. So again, we go back from the scratch to co-founders uh, place. So yeah.
Amazing. So, like, when you told this whole journey, so I would like to ask you, like, is there any notable projects in your mind, like, which you have worked with him back when you were in agency? Matlab, obviously, you have built Sync Signature together, but any notable project which you remember, any experience which you would like to share, which is like on your mind, ki, yeah, that was the thing which we have worked together.
Right. So basically, when I was working there were a couple of things. We started off. as a totally like global projects setup company, because most of the projects were from outside, from US, because startups का उस time पे थोड़ा था. But then things started to happen in India as well, and we got a lot of uh, people who were interested in building good products, good projects within city as well, in our connections as well. So उस वे में देखा जाए, there were a couple of projects. So basically my part in that, uh, in the project coordination setup, was to just get the idea of what we are supposed to do, which the people in the US were coming up with, and then build it over here. But then when we were exploring opportunities within the city or in our connections, we had to do everything from scratch, from design, from requirement gathering perspective, everything from scratch.
Hmm.
So doing that for US gave me a lot of opportunity to do the same here, but in full fledged setup. So I have to take care of scoping, to design, to development estimations, to development timelines, and then actually working on that and shipping that, and even some part of marketing was also exposed to me. So
Oh.
I had to work with a lot of startup founders. One of the companies I definitely give a shout out to is DGQC, which is quality control in construction industry, in construction industry app, which is doing really well. It has been like 4 or 5 years they've been running it, and it has a good valuation in the market, and uh, really growing fast in that sense. So it's a enterprise solution in a way for construction industry. So they are doing really well. I was very integral part of that. One of the project I also remember is Loop Money, which is probably got acquired in US, sorry, Europe, uh, for which again, like I started, the first phone call was through me. Like we discussed together, and then we put it on the table with Nachiket, and then we all came together and asked a lot of questions. The guy was considering a lot of agencies, but because of our curiosity, again over here as well, because of our curiosity, he said that I'll go with you guys, because you are actually consulting and not just helping us build the product. So, and I think the project is still with Logicman, so the technical uh, part of it is being developed over here as well, on that front, and a couple of other players as well. Digital business card project, uh, and then there is one more. I think there's a Mumbai-based company who is into legal AI. Similar product we have from Surat, uh, from Mehul Shah. Mehul Shah is one of the key uh, part of the ecosystem over here, and he does a lot of startup counseling. He is a lawyer himself. He runs this couple of startups, and he invests in a lot of startups as well. So yeah, I mean that's legal AI based. They are going AI based totally. So legal AI company, that I was a part of in the early days as well. So yeah, a couple of founders I had to. I was fortunate to be a part of those companies, and yeah, build with them basically.
I can see that like how you have got that product mindset, like
Exactly.
building in multiple products over the time. And like I can see like there are not specific to one industry, there are a lot like which you have worked on. So
Right.
like talking about this product building mindset, you have built an amazing product like Sync Signature, right? So
Right.
what was the idea around, like how do you got that idea, I have to build on this particular, because I am pretty sure uh, a person like you have multiple ideas in your mind. Matlab with every day, with every sip of water or coffee, you might be getting new ideas. This we can do, this we can do. So like how you have got this idea, I think this is the thing which we should work on, we should build a thing, and you have quit the job. So let's talk about Sync Signature.
Definitely. So basically, I also want to mention that within that agency setup as well, we were doing a lot of experiments in a way. And experiments, by that I mean our internal products that we wanted to launch, because we were already building for a lot of global customers. We had that grip of or the sense of design, development, testing, requirement gathering, all of that were already that. So we were doing a lot of products in that sense. And as you mentioned, like there were a lot of ideas. We did a lot of experiments in that sense. So at least I can say there were 10 to 15 products that we have already worked out on in the agency setup. And back then it was all building, right? So mindset wahi tha ki if we know how to build stuff, we should build stuff. Marketing was not in the equation, or our comfortable zone bhi nahi tha. And we tried to do marketing as well, but wo wahi tha ki uh, we were in that mindset that building is complicated. Once we build that, people will come, and they probably didn't, in a way. And that's what agency life, or the life that I spent my career, like major part of my career, taught me like what are the things that you're not supposed to do when you're doing business. This is one of the things, like you are not supposed to focus a lot on the idea or building part, as if I have to put it that way. And you should be focusing more on the distribution part of it. वो बोलते हैं ना कि like first time founders always are fascinated about the idea or the product or the building part of it, but the second time founder will always think from the distribution perspective, or from the marketing perspective कि how big can we go with that. So I think that that was something that came to me as a learning of those failed experiments. And उसके बाद within that agency setup as well, I always had this conversation with my co-founder back then as well, uh, who is a founder of Logicwind, Nachiket Patel. I always had this discussions back and forth, like what do we do if we do this that. लेकिन वही था कि experiments were experiments, we were not really able to take those off. And then काइंड ऑफ वही उसमें ही चले जाते थे कि सर्विस बेस्ड एक दो प्रोजेक्ट्स और आए, लेट्स ट्राई टू वर्क ऑन दैट नाउ. सो उस वे में इतना क्लियर हो गया कि इट्स अ डिफरेंट माइंडसेट इन अ वे. इफ यू आर थिंकिंग ऑफ गोइंग इनटू प्रोडक्ट्स, it's a different mindset that you need. It's a different team that you need. The same mindset or the team that you have in the service will not cut it over here, because बहुत कुछ difference होता है इसके अंदर. You have to focus on customers a lot. यहाँ पे client होते हैं of course, so you are just focusing on building a lot on the service side, where this on this side there's a lot of marketing and customer success that happens. So that was a mindset shift that I kind of felt. Plus, I joined GrowthX very early. If you probably know about GrowthX, which is top 1% product people, growth people coming together, and there's a cohort of or community-based, cohort-based course that happens. Shout out to Abhishek and Udayan. They are doing phenomenally well. They are like they started 2 3 years 4 years back, and now they have a army of founders, operators, top people from India and abroad, of course. And they are building a great community. So I definitely want to mention them. I was part of very early cohort in that, and I realized that कि product का journey पूरा अलग रहता है, growth कैसे होता है, all of that, the nuances around it, बहुत कुछ जानने को मिला. And then I had a talk again with Nachiket that अगर कुछ ये करना है तो इसको separate way में करना पड़ेगा. And that's how Sync Signature was born. Like we kind of thought that अभी इसके अंदर क्या और करे, क्या क्या अलग से करे जिससे कुछ फायदा होगा. तो there were a couple of paths we could take. कि we were good at building, so कुछ complex बनाते हैं, and then we go out in the market and try to sell it. That we already tried. कि काफी कुछ जो एक्सपेरिमेंट्स किए थे उसके अंदर किया हुआ था कि लाइक ये कुछ दिख रहा है, ऐसा कोई सॉफ्टवेयर अवेलेबल नहीं है, चलो ऐसा कुछ बनाते हैं. बट देन व्हाट वी रियलाइज्ड इज कि अगर तुम्हें कुछ करना है ना, तो कुछ ऐसा करो कि जो वैलिडेटेड स्पेस में होगा. इफ यू आर रियली लुकिंग फॉर दैट मनी राइट अवे, एज इन कि लाइक कुछ नया करने की जरूरत नहीं है. दैट्स व्हाट आई बिलीव एज वेल कि लाइक इफ यू आर ट्राइंग टू स्टार्ट अ बिजनेस, यू डोंट हैव टू लुक फॉर समथिंग टाइनी या यूनिक चाहिए. जो मार्केट में चल रहा है उसके अंदर क्या वैल्यू आप ऐड कर सकते हो, क्या इंक्रीमेंटल शिफ्ट आप दे सकते हो, उसका ही खाली सोचो. You don't really have to like जैसा like people will hate me for this, but most of the time people what they do is they try to find problems and try to solve them with unique technology and this and that. But most of the time when they say 99% of the startups fail, it really fails because they don't consider the common sense of business, which is uh, basically business क्या है कि like you uh, you come up with a product, right? उसका एक cost होता है and then you sell it for something. सो आप रेवेन्यू जनरेट करते हो, उसमें से आप कॉस्ट निकालते हो तो उसका प्रॉफिट बचना चाहिए. दैट इज बिजनेस. ठीक है.
Right.
अभी लोग ये कॉमन सिंपल ये इक्वेशन को फॉलो ही नहीं करते. दे जस्ट वांट टू लुक फॉर दैट. चलो थाउजेंड्स ऑफ पीपल कैसे साथ में आ जाए, इतने साइनअप्स हो जाएंगे तो क्या होगा, वैल्यूएशन क्या होगा, इतना फंड रेज करते हैं. आई एम नॉट अगेंस्ट ऑल ऑफ दैट ऑफ कोर्स, बट आई फील दैट कि इट्स अ रेयरिटी. अ लॉट ऑफ फाउंडर्स फेल इन दैट सेंस बिकॉज जो सस्टेनेबल नहीं है ना उसको सस्टेन करना मुश्किल रहता है. So what I
Exactly.
believe is ki like try to find something which is already making money out there and try to find that small incremental shift or the incremental adjustment that needs in that solution. तो वो एक फाइंड करना रहता है. एंड सो बेसिकली सिंग सिग्नेचर में वी हैव 3 co-founders. Myself, there is Nachiket, who is also founder of Logicment, and one more person is Vipul Kapoor, and he's this OG guy who has done it all. He ran SaaS for 20 years. Like we did not even know what SaaS was back then. He was running that. So he started back in 2000s, early 2000s, and he was a technology guy, and he did all of this, and he ended up selling that company right now, which is acquired by Yanolja Cloud Solutions, which is again Europe's big name in that sense. So yeah, I mean, so fortunate to be with these people who gave me all the knowledge, and of course my own journey was around all of this, that क्या नहीं करना है वो पहले सोचना है. So क्या नहीं करना है ना वो सोच के उसको साइड पे कर देंगे. We don't really want to go for something complex. Of course, when I was researching, AI was booming, right? Last year,
Mhm.
AI was on the horizon.
Yep.
It has been just 6 months, and I could have done something in AI. Of course, I could be, because building is in a way easier for us because हमने किया हुआ है काफी सालों. तो वो एक था, लेकिन AI is complex in a way, and AI is technology heavy. But
Hmm.
myself, I am not a technical founder, so I always thought that ki non-technical, being a non-technical founder, it will give me an edge if I have something really simple but still workable, because everything boils down to one thing, which is profits. Are we going to profit from this or not? That was the question on the table, and that's where I felt like most of the AI products that were coming up was not filtering it. So I did not choose any of the AI products. Sync Signature, because that was very small to start with. So मेरे co-founder का ये कहना है कि before you start building a bus, you should start to build a bicycle. क्योंकि
Hmm.
उसके ऊपर बैठ के तुम चला के पहुंच सकते हो पॉइंट ए टू बी. योर गोल इज टू गो फ्रॉम पॉइंट ए टू बी, तो पहले ये सोचो कि बाइसिकल का फॉर्म क्या रहेगा, एंड विच इज द सिंपलेस्ट इफेक्टिव स्मॉल थिंग दैट कैन पीपल बेनिफिट फ्रॉम, राइट? तो वो एक चीज़ हम लोगों को ढूंढनी थी, एंड आई वॉज लुकिंग इन टू एच आर स्पेस, आई वॉज लुकिंग इन टू डिज़ाइन स्पेस. और वो सब जो हमें करना था उसके पीछे एक रीज़न ये था कि आई वॉन्टेड टू बी इन, sorry, so I wanted to be in a space where uh, I was comfortable with. So basically ऐसा नहीं था कि uh, कोई भी इंडस्ट्री चलेगी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल कंस्ट्रक्शन, आई हैव बीन अ पार्ट ऑफ वन ऑफ द स्टार्टअप. आई क्लोजली लुक्ड एट हाउ दे ऑपरेट एंड व्हाट थिंग्स दे डू. बट मेरे को इतना क्लियर था कि मुझे किससे कंफर्ट है ज़्यादा. सो आई वॉज कंफर्टेबल मोर विद द पीपल लाइक अस, राइट? who are technology savvy, who are obsessive over productivity, who are digital in a way, they are digital first in a way, right? तो मुझे उस स्पेस के अंदर कुछ करना था. सो वो एक अगेन देयर वाज दिस फिल्टर वाज देयर आल्सो सो उस वे में देखा जाए तो देन ओनली दिस फ्यू कैटेगरीज केम अप कि भाई एचआर स्पेस में करना है, डिज़ाइन रिलेटेड कुछ करना है, या फिर यू नो मेजरली दीज टू। तो उसके अंदर मेरे को आई वाज लुकिंग फॉर लॉट ऑफ सॉल्यूशंस। उसके अंदर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन डायरेक्टरीज हो गया, और या वन ऑफ द मेजर फिल्टर आई वुड से वाज आल्सो द एक्सपीरियंस दैट आई हैव सो फार, कि अभी तक का जो भी एक्सपीरियंस है उसके हिसाब से व्हाट मेक्स सेंस। तो उसके हिसाब से मेरे को ये ठीक लगा कि लाइक सिंक सिग्नेचर इज द स्मॉलेस्ट पॉसिबल थिंग दैट वी कैन डू, एंड on top of that we will build, or we will take the direction where business is able to generate profits. So yeah.
Cool, cool, यार. मतलब like you have given me so much insights about how to build a product technically, what things we should keep in mind. So like for example, just imagine I am the new guy, like, or a student just graduated, right? So what skills should मतलब what I can say must have skills for a new entrepreneur? What do you think कि must have skills क्या क्या हैं ऐसे? Like just assume like I am the one and suggest me like what are those skills जो must have है मेरे लिए.
मेरे हिसाब से सबसे फर्स्ट थिंग आई वुड से इज यू आर नॉट अफ्रेड टू फेल, बिकॉज दैट्स गोना हैपन। क्योंकि यू नो अभी कितने बजे हैं, इट्स 4:44,
Yeah,
समथिंग हैपन्स एंड यू आर really happy about it, and then 5 minutes later something else will happen that will drop you,
crash
like
it down.
literally drop you. So you should be able to sustain yourself in a way that कि कुछ हाई मिल रहा है तो लेट्स ट्रीट इट एज हाँ ठीक है हो रहा है, एंड कुछ लो हो रहा है तो भी लाइक हो रहा है ठीक है कोई बात, विल मेक श्योर दैट कुछ ना कुछ सोल्यूशन आ जाएगा, वो माइंडसेट एक चाहिए। So that I would say that is one of the most important thing. Second thing is, I would say ki put yourself in constraints. What I mean by that is constraints will make you become more creative. So uh, if I talk about myself, अगर हम लोगों का तीनों का कंबाइन, मतलब तीनों को फाउंडर्स का कंबाइन एक्सपीरियंस देखा जाए, तो दैट विल बी अराउंड 45-50 years of experience in tech itself, right? So one of the questions that I get asked a lot is कि आप लोगों ने इतना सिंपल प्रोडक्ट क्यों सिलेक्ट किया? And my answer to that is pretty simple. Like simple and boring gets you money, because बाकी तुम कुछ कॉम्प्लेक्स करने जाओगे, it will take a lot of time. It will come out probably 5 years later, and then no one will probably give a damn about it. So so you must have certain constraints, while operating in that zone. So मेरे हिसाब से having constraints help you a lot. So I put myself into constraints कि मुझे यही इंडस्ट्री देखनी है, मुझे इसका ही कुछ करना है। आई ऑल्सो मेड श्योर दैट कि प्रोडक्ट बिल्डिंग का जो जर्नी है, विच इज आई वुड से कि पूरा बिजनेस के जर्नी के अंदर प्रोडक्ट बिल्डिंग इज कंसिडर ओनली 10 to 20%, नॉट मोर देन दैट। एवरीथिंग एल्स इज मार्केटिंग, बिकॉज पीपल विल बाय फ्रॉम पीपल, and if you are going to sell it to someone a product, then you have to make sure that कि सामने वाले को trust हो कि वो किससे buy कर रहा है, and this is becoming more and more increasingly valuable, because we are living in the era where building is very very easy in a way. अगर मैं कोई भी piece of software if I look at, and if I say that कि ये यूनिक है, इसके जैसा कुछ करना है, या फिर इसके अंदर ये डालेंगे तो पूरा यूनिक बन जाएगा, वेरी रेयरली एनी प्रोडक्ट विल क्वालिफाई फॉर दैट। देयर आर लॉट ऑफ मी टू प्रोडक्ट्स एंड ऑलवेज विल बी। अगर वो पूरा यूनिक कैटेगरी है, फॉर एग्जांपल चैट जीपीटी, तो बाकी सब लोगों ने भी लाना स्टार्ट कर दिया, राइट? सो LLM मॉडल्स दे ऑल हैव नाउ, बिगर कंपनीज आर in the competition of doing different things. So what really matters is कि क्या यूज केस आप सॉल्व कर रहे हो। तो उसके लिए भी वही है कि यू हैव टू पुट योर सेल्फ इन कंस्ट्रेंट कि भाई बिल्डिंग का पार्ट थोड़ा कम रखो, थिंक अबाउट हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू डिस्ट्रीब्यूट इट, हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू मार्केट योर प्रोडक्ट। अगर वो सही से सॉर्टेड हो रहा है, देन यू चेज दैट आइडिया, राइट? And even in this book I was reading, it mentioned that make sure that you are riding a big enough wave as in कि like आप समझो कि आप सर्फ बोर्डर हो, राइट? यू हैव द स्किल्स, तुम्हें पता है कि कैसे सर्व किया जाए, बहुत अच्छे से आता है, यू हैव द बेस्ट ऑफ द बेस्ट सर्फ बोर्ड एज वेल, बट अगर तुम्हारे पास राइड ही स्लो है या फिर कम वाला
वेव
राइड है,
वेव ही नहीं है।
exactly, so you will not be able to ride it well. So you
एग्जैक्टली।
pick a big enough wave, and then you have combine it with the expertise that you have or the skill set that you have. अगर नहीं है तो आप कर सकते हो, right? If you're passionate about, let's say, podcasting is one of the thing, या फिर content creation is one of those things, तो आप इतना डीप में उसमें जाओ तो आपको खुद को ही वहां पे पता चलने लगेगा, like what are the things that matters for people. And आपके, like, I feel like this is one of the things, right, कि relevance is everything. I feel like कि अगर 2022 में कुछ अच्छा काम कर गया, that doesn't mean that it will work today.
एग्जैक्टली।
And I mean it in a way that अगर आप, we are not even comparing 2010 versus 2024. We are comparing just 2 years of time. अगर
एग्जैक्टली।
इतना ज़्यादा चेंज हो रहा है चीज़ें, देन यू हैव टू मेक श्योर दैट कुछ भी अगर करें तो थोड़ा सा फास्ट पेस पे जाना पड़ेगा, एंड देन यू हैव टू लर्न फ्रॉम द पीपल हु आर गिविंग यू द रेलेवेंट कंटेंट, राइट? 2 साल पहले का कंटेंट होगा, कोई ट्रेंड होगा विच विल नॉट बी, देर आर टाइमलेस पीसेस ऑफ कंटेंट एज वेल, बट वेरी रेयरली you'll write the same way. So make sure that ki you have that, in your kind of list, that अपने को ये चीज का ध्यान रखना है. So these are couple of things, yeah.
अच्छा, when you mentioned about like 20, मतलब product building is a 20% of it, rest is marketing. So like for example, a new person or a new entrepreneur has built the product, any kind of solution he has made. So how he can make that first purchase, or how he can get into the marketing or getting first 100 clients, मतलब how he can do that even in B2B or B2C, any of them, मतलब like आपको ही आपके स्टार्टिंग के 100 कस्टमर्स कैसे मिले या यूजर्स कैसे मिले?
This is the Bhagavad Gita of things because it will get you started. You know what? Like I have no association whatsoever with the book or any, but this is like juice. I would say it's very juicy, and it will just focus on one thing कि आप क्यों सोच रहे हो 10,000 या 100 कस्टमर का. You just need to get one first. सबसे पहला फर्स्ट डॉलर, हाउ कैन यू मेक दैट फर्स्ट डॉलर. एंड अदर थिंग इज कि लाइक ये जो बिल्डिंग वाला चीज़ है ना, दैट if you're thinking of building something and then selling it, it's a wrong way of thinking according to me. Because तुम जब भी तुम्हारा अपना कोई प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करना या फिर कोई भी आइडिया सोच रहे हो, that's where you start marketing, or that's where you start to think about marketing as well. For example, if I talk about Sync Signature, the marketing bit of it started as soon as I started thinking about the idea. सबसे पहला मेरा थॉट यही था कि लाइक चलो हाँ, एक मार्केट मिल रहा है मेरे को कि जिसमें ऑफ कोर्स इट्स अ नोन मार्केट, देयर लॉट ऑफ प्लेयर्स, सब कुछ है, तो इसके अंदर मुझे अगर जाना है तो क्या कर सकते हैं. सो आई लुक्ड एट ऑल द प्लेटफॉर्म्स दैट वर प्रोवाइडिंग द सिमिलर सॉल्यूशंस, उनके कस्टमर्स के रिव्यूज़ देखे, व्हाट पीपल आर सेइंग अबाउट दोज प्लेटफॉर्म्स, क्या लोगों को नहीं पसंद आ रहा है, क्या कौन सी चीज़ है जो शायद उनको सही नहीं लग रही है. So all of that I tried to look for, and then that's how I also found the communities as well. And I think communities are the great aspect to distribution, and that's where you most likely to succeed when you are trying to get your first customers. Like for example, you ask about 100 customers, the community will give you that 100 customers. So you have to be in that community where the problem is there, you are contributing, you have built that trust in that community, and you are considered as one of the authorities who know stuff. Like आपको example दूं तो there are a lot of LinkedIn
ग्रुप्स।
influencers बोल सकते हैं, like हाँ, groups की बात भी करते हैं, but there are a lot of LinkedIn influencers who started with building an authority and then they came up with products, and they were able to be successful. Why? Because they already had that audience to share what they are
Twitter
about.
specifically. I remember, I think Ankur Warikoo is one of them. Like he has built amazing products and edtech technically on this. And
Right,
like you have already mentioned the importance of networking and mentorship. So like you have obviously mentioned that importance of networking. Well, like you have taken a mentorship as well, a cohort, and you are a like self learner, learn a lot. So, do you think like people should get into mentorship, or they should have this self-learning attitude, or like because like in market ना कोर्स को लेके काफी ऐसा मतलब एक माइंडसेट है कि स्कैम होता है, पीपल आर चार्जिंग एंड गिविंग, मतलब हम इंडियंस का ना वो ऐसा एटीट्यूड नहीं है कि यार हमें पे करना है, like we
right.
don't feel that. So what's your take on that, and what you would like to suggest to me and like people as well?
I think courses are helpful in a way where but I feel like कि इतना सब कुछ आपको फ्री में मिल रहा है. But if you are looking for that one thing which is community aspect of it, तो शायद वो कम्युनिटी चार्जेबल हो सकती है एंड यू मे वांट टू गेट इट बिकॉज वो कम्युनिटी के अंदर आपको एक्सपोजर मिलेगा डिफरेंट पीपल का वेर यू कैन टॉक विद देम यू कैन गेट देयर सजेशंस you can continue to build your network. You may end up building some or making some friends as well. So community aspect जहाँ पे आता है ना, and these are see that's how we are wired to be in groups, right? ऑफ कोर्स फिजिकल सेटअप में भी होता है कि भाई बास्केटबॉल खेलने वाले लोग अलग है, क्रिकेट लवर्स अलग हैं. सिमिलरली ऑनलाइन देर आर प्लेसेस वेर लाइक माइंडेड पीपल आर देयर. सो अगर आपको कंटेंट क्रिएशन में इंटरेस्ट है देन देर विल बी अ लॉट ऑफ कम्युनिटीज अराउंड दैट. अगर वहाँ पे आप जाओगे तो आपको लाइक माइंडेड पीपल मिलेंगे. यू एंड अप कोलैबोरेटिंग विद अ लॉट ऑफ देम एज वेल.